half pound. Yes, I didn't say. What are you looking so sad about, Jap?
I'm surprised. I mean, I'm really insulted. That's not right, what you just said.
What do you mean, what I just said?
I mean, I'm getting a drink of water. I'm late getting home, but you talking. I said something about the greatest heavyweight champ, man. I'm a hometown man, and you talking about Joe Louis, man. Joe Louis wouldn't be nothing for me. Joe, I tell you, Joe, do you think you would have stood a chance with me?
Well, Clay, one time during my career, I bummed a bum of my tour.
I would have been a bum compared to you.
What's happening, my people? It's Cast Sports again, back for another afternoon with the family. That's right, you know what time it is. If it's Monday through Friday, 2 p.m., it's the Boxtorian, bringing you all that boxing history. Boxing is the greatest sport of them all. That's why we love it. Can't get enough of it. Salute to Miss Cass, because without her, none of this would be possible. Salute to everyone, and welcome to another episode of Cass Sports, the Boxtorian. Today, the best fights and fighters by decade. The best fighters and fighters by decade. Have the family today. It's Monday. We're back at the beginning of another big week of boxing history. Ryan Garcia is finally a world champion. You're talking about him and Shakur. That'd be another 12-0 for Shakur. Rolly took Ryan's left hook away from him. What do you think Shakur going to do to him? Same people that was talking that Teal nonsense is now talking about Ryan. But yeah, still be a big fight though. I'm here to see it. Yeah, today we're going to talk about some of the best fighters and fighters from every decade, from the 2010s all the way back to the 1910s, over the past century and every century in between. And then the last 30 or 40 minutes of the show will be brought to you by Al Booger. We're going to look at a little brief history of the relationship between boxing and rap music. And then I got like 7 or 8 rappers that boxed or sparred. Some of them actually fought a few pro fights. Some of them had some decorated amateur careers. So that the last 40 minutes, a little brief history between boxing and rap music. And we're going to look at some rappers that actually got into boxing. Some rappers that got into the promotional management side of boxing. Jay-Z, 50 Cent. Yep. Got a rapper named Snap Dogg that boxed. Not Snoop Dogg, Snap Dogg. S-N-A-P Dogg. Snap Dogg. But how's the family today? Hope everybody had a great weekend. We get ready to start another big week of boxing history off again. And with today, our first show is going to be the best fights and fighters by decade. We're going to go from the fights from the 2010s to the 1910s. Since we did half a decade now, 2010s to 2020. And then the fighters all the way from the 1800s, 1880s up to the 2000s. Every decade in between today. That's what we are doing. Yeah, Gary Antoine. Figure Andy Hiriaka would be a tough out. Yep, so good weekend of fighting. Let's look at this weekend real quick, and then we're going to get started. I hadn't even looked at what's happening this weekend. We're going to get started with today's fight of the day. Got to start the show with a fight from the past. Crowd fight of the day. Hope everybody had a great weekend this weekend. A lot of that white stuff out there right now. It's not as bad here as it is other places. It's like kind of light snow out here. Yeah, but some places like on the way to getting a couple of feet. Wow. Let's take a look at this weekend real quick. Then we're going to have our fight of the day. Then we're going to get into these best fights and fighters by decade. And a little brief history of boxing and rap today. Okay, this weekend is what? The 28th of February? That's one of the months. Next, not this Friday. Next Friday will be, first Friday of the month, we're going to profile an active boxer. Boxing Friday, women's card. Saturday, 28th, we got Emmanuel Navarrete, Eduardo Nunez. Oh, yeah. Another good one. Emiliano Vargas on the card. Emiliano is doing some fighting. So, yeah, another good card this weekend. That's a good one. Emmanuel Navarrete, Eduardo Nunez. All right. Okay. So now, without further ado, let's get into our fight of the day. Get this thing kicked off here. Okay, today's fight of the day is Floyd Mayweather Jr. versus Victor Ortiz, September 17th, 2011. Protect yourself at all times. Protect yourself at all times. Okay, let's get into it. The Floyd Mayweather Jr. versus Victor Ortiz fight was contested for the WBC welterweight championship at the MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. In the fight, undefeated American boxer Floyd Mayweather Jr., 41-0 with 25 knockouts, faced reigning WBC welterweight title holder Victor Ortiz, 29 wins, 2 losses, 2 draws with 22 knockouts, in a scheduled 12-round fight, with both fighters weighing in at 147 pounds. Mayweather won by knockout in the 4th round at 2 minutes 59 seconds, capturing the title in one of the most debated finishes in modern boxing history, due to a sequence involving a headbutt, referee intervention, and unanswered punches. Yeah, crazy finish in that one. Crazy finish. Let's talk about it. Mayweather, a 5-division world champion, known for his defensive prowess and undefeated record, entered the fight following a 16-month layoff after defeating Shane Mosley in May 2010. Ortiz, a 24-year-old Mexican-American southpaw, had recently won the WBC welterweight title in April 2011 by defeating Andre Berto by unanimous decision, marking his first world championship after a career setback from a 2009 loss to Marcos Maidana. The matchup was promoted as a high-stakes clash between Mayweather's technical mastery and Ortiz's aggressive power-punching style, drawing significant anticipation as Mayweather's return to the ring. The fight began with Ortiz applying early pressure, landing combinations in the first 2 rounds, while Mayweather countered with precise jabs and movement to control distance. In the 3rd round, Ortiz continued his aggression, but absorbed cleaner shots from Mayweather, who began to dominate with footwork and bodywork. The pivotal moment occurred early in the 4th round, when Ortiz, clinching against the ropes, delivered an intentional headbutt to Mayweather's forehead, prompting referee Joe Ortiz to separate the fighters and deduct 1 point from Ortiz for the foul. Mike Mazik in the building. Salute, Mike. How was your weekend? Fight of the day is Floyd Mayweather Jr. versus Victor Ortiz. September 17th, 2011. Protect yourself at all times. Okay, let's continue. Salute, Mike Mazik. So in the 4th round, Victor Ortiz delivered an intentional headbutt to Floyd, and the referee deducted a point from Ortiz. Now, following the point deduction, Ortiz approached Mayweather with a hug and glove touch in apparent reconciliation, turning his back to look towards Cortez while dropping his hands. Cortez, believing the action had resumed, did not intervene as Mayweather immediately threw a left hook followed by a right hand, both landing cleanly on Ortiz's exposed chin and dropping him to the canvas for the full 10 count, ending the fight. The sequence ignited immediate controversy, with critics labeling Mayweather's punches as a sucker punch, since Ortiz appeared unaware the round had restarted, while supporters argued Ortiz's headbutt justified the outcome and that fighters must remain vigilant at all times. The referee Joe Cortez later defended his officiating, stating he had given the verbal command to resume and that Mayweather did nothing wrong, emphasizing that time was then and gloves had been touched. Financially, the event was a blockbuster, generating 1.2 million pay-per-view buys and 78.4 million in revenue, ranking as the second highest grossing non-heavyweight boxing pay-per-view at the time. Mayweather earned approximately $40 million, including his $25 million guarantee plus pay-per-view shares, while Ortiz received about $2 million. The fight's legacy endures as a flashpoint in discussions of boxing ethics, sportsmanship, and Mayweather's opportunistic style, solidifying his reputation as a tactical genius amid ongoing debates over the legitimacy of the knockdown. Let's take a look at the aftermath of the fight then. Take a look at the aftermath of the fight, the controversy and all that, because it was a huge controversial ending to this fight. Now, following the headbutt incident that prompted referee Joe Cortez to deduct a point from Ortiz, the fight had resumed amid confusion, leading to Mayweather's immediate knockout punches. The crowd at the MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas reacted with widespread boos directed at Mayweather as soon as the knockout was declared, reflecting dismay over the sequence of events. Now, the referee, Joe Cortez, quickly explained his officiating, stating that time had resumed in the fourth round and there was no standing break in effect, emphasizing that Mayweather's actions were legal since fighters must maintain their guard at all times. He noted that he had instructed both fighters to continue boxing after separating them, and the punches landed approximately 1 second after the command to continue was given and action had restarted. Mike Rim in the building. Fight of the day, Mike Rim. Floyd Mayweather Jr., Victor Ortiz. The fight where Floyd dropped Victor after he headbutted him and tried to apologize. Salute, Mike Rim. So yeah, the referee, Joe Cortez, said Floyd did nothing wrong. Floyd's punches came approximately 1 second after he had given the command to continue and the fight had restarted. Now, in his in-ring interview after the fight, Mayweather defended the knockout as pure instinct and within the rules, repeatedly invoking the boxing mantra to protect yourself at all times, while criticizing Ortiz for the earlier foul he had committed. He stated, "We came together to fight. It's fight time. You want to do me dirty with a foul, and then 2 minutes later, you want to be my friend. This is the hurt business." Adding that after touching gloves, it's go time. Now, the post-fight interview escalated into a confrontation with HBO commentator Larry Merchant, who labeled the victory devious and accused Mayweather of exploiting the moment unfairly. Mayweather responded heatedly, shouting, "You never give me a fair shake. HBO needs to fire you. You don't know shit about boxing." Prompting Merchant to retort, "I wish I was 50 years younger. I'd kick your ass." Remember that? Merchant said, "I wish I was 50 years younger. I'd kick your ass." Okay. So Ortiz, in his post-fight interview, appearing emotional in the ring, expressed regret over the headbutt, insisting it was unintentional and apologizing for it as a dirty move he did not intend. He accepted the loss, describing the knockout as a blindsiding after he obeyed the referee's instructions doing what he perceived as a break, calling it a learning experience and acknowledging a miscommunication with referee Cortez. And there you have it, the fight of the day. Floyd Mayweather, Victor Ortiz. Floyd Mayweather wins by 4th round knockout. 2:59 of the 4th round. 1 second left when it went down. Okay? All right. So today we're going to talk about some of the best fights and fighters by decade. Okay, we're going to start out with fights. We're going to go from the 2010s to the 1910s and a great fight from every decade in between. Best fights and fighters by decade. Then at the end, we're going to have a little thing on a brief history between the relationship of boxing and rap music, brought to you by Al Booger. And we're going to look at some rappers that boxed. Got a couple boxers that rap too. Some of these rappers just sparred. Some of them actually had a few pro fights. One of them had a very decorated amateur career. So that's coming at the end. Some rappers that boxed. Okay, but now, best fights in boxing history by decade. Decade by decade by decade. Okay, let's get into it. How's everybody? It's Monday. We're right back at the beginning of another big week of boxing history. Starting another one. And it's going to be a big one. Okay. Boxing's most memorable fight from each decade of the past century. Okay? Boxing's most memorable fight from each decade of the past century. Great prize fights retain a sense of immediacy and drama, even many years after they happen. Decades later, fans who were not even born at the time still debate Muhammad Ali's Phantom Punch against Sonny Liston, or the Jack Dempsey-Gene Tunney long count fight. Great prize fights passed into the realm of myth as well. With the Thriller in Manila, Ali and Joe Frazier became Hector and Achilles for the 20th century. Joe Louis's dramatic round 1 knockout of German Max Schmeling on the eve of World War II made the Brown Bomber an instant folk hero. Reducing all the great fights of the past century to one most memorable per decade is a challenge. Memorable, by definition, is a subjective term. Still, a lot of these fights seem like obvious choices. Let's talk about them. The most memorable fight from each decade, from 2010s to 1910, and every decade in between. 2010 to the present. Juan Manuel Marquez, 6-round knockout over Manny Pacquiao. Juan Manuel Marquez versus Manny Pacquiao is the most important boxing rivalry of this century. The first 3 fights were razor close affairs, with none of them yielding a clear winner. The first fight was a draw, and the second was a split decision win for Pacquiao. The third fight went to Pacquiao by majority decision, though it was perhaps the most criticized decision of the 3. The BoxRec entry lists 56 media members scoring for Marquez, 51 for Pacquiao, and 36 for a draw. It seemed reasonable to expect more the same when the 2 legends met for a 4th time in December 2012. After 2 relatively tentative rounds, Marquez began to work Pacquiao's body and used a feinted left hook to the body to set up an overhead right that dropped Pacquiao for the first time in their 4 fights together. Marquez continued to land hard in the 4th and looked to be taking control of the fight. But Pacquiao came back strong in the sixth, dropping Marquez with a left. Both men traded solid power shots, but Marquez ended the round with a broken nose and on wobbly legs. Round 6 was all Pacquiao until the very end. With just a second remaining, Marquez lured Pacquiao forward and landed one of the great right-hand counters in the sport's history, knocking Pacquiao out cold and giving his great rival its first decisive finish. Okay, most memorable fight of the past century. 2000 to 2009. Floyd Mayweather, 10th round TKO over Ricky the Hitman Hatton. Manny Pacquiao's round 2 knockout of Ricky Hatton was more spectacular. But Floyd Mayweather's earlier stoppage of the tough English star in December 2007 seems like the all-around more memorable fight. Both fighters came in undefeated, with Mayweather fresh off beating Arthur De La Hoya and Hatton having just knocked out Mayweather's toughest opponent, Jose Luis Castillo. The British fans who traveled across the Atlantic to cheer their man played a large role in making this such a major event. At times, the MGM Grand seemed more like a soccer stadium in Manchester, England. Hatton's heart and bruising style made for an entertaining fight, but Mayweather's pinpoint accuracy with his lead right and check hook punished Hatton all night long. Years later, Mayweather haters still complain about the way Mayweather used his elbows in close range during this fight, while his fans still hail his unbelievable accuracy and control of distance. Okay, 1990s. Evander Holyfield, 11th round TKO over Mike Tyson. This was the first fight. Now, many rank Evander Holyfield's first 2 fights with Riddick Bowe as better fights than his round 11 stoppage of Mike Tyson. And the Holyfield-Tyson rematch, which ended with Tyson's bizarre cannibal turn, was certainly memorable, the bite fight. But the first fight between Tyson and Holyfield in 1996 was an exciting scrap and has to be counted as one of the most memorable fights in boxing history. It was the night that the mystique of Iron Mike officially crashed to earth. After coming out of prison in 1995, Tyson had stopped Peter McNeely, Buster Mathis Jr., Frank Bruno, and Bruce Seldon in rapid succession. The total number of rounds for all 4 fights was 8. By this time, Holyfield had been through 3 wars with Bowe, getting stopped in the 3rd. He lost a majority decision to former light heavyweight Michael Moorer and briefly retired with a heart condition. In the mind of the average sports fan, Holyfield was destined to be destroyed by the still monstrous and dangerous Tyson. Instead, Holyfield instituted a rugged, brawling game plan and beat Tyson up. Many people remember the fight as Tyson seeming to literally shrink in the ring. By the last round, it was like watching Holyfield bully a little guy. It would have been interesting to see what would have happened if this fight could have taken place 4 years earlier. It would have unquestionably been a great fight. But you can't be sure it would have ended up being quite so memorable. Okay, 1980. Most memorable fight from the 1980s, of course, is Marvin Hagler, third round TKO over Thomas the Hitman Hearn. No question about that being the most memorable fight of the 80s. Most of the biggest fights of the 1980s involved some configuration of what sports writer George Kimball dubbed the Four Kings in his seminal book on boxing during the decade. Sugar Ray Leonard versus Marvin Hagler, Leonard's first and second fight with Roberto Duran, and his first fight with Thomas Hearns, along with Duran's 15-round war with Hagler, and Hearns' 2-round destruction of Duran were all extremely memorable and historically important fights. But the sheer intensity of Hearns and Hagler's 3-round slugfest in 1985 deserves top billing. It's the most memorable fight of the past 40 years. With Leonard in retirement, Hagler and Hearns were clearly the two biggest pound-for-pound stars in the sport at that time. Hagler was in the middle of the most dominant run in middleweight history. Hearns was less than a year removed from pole-axing Duran. Both men came out intent on knocking out the other as quickly as possible. Now, most people have seen this fight countless times, but each time you see it, it's still incredible to watch. Also in the 80s, special mention should also go to the first fight between Alexis Arguello and Aaron Pryor, which Pryor came back to win by round 14 TKO. Most memorable fight of the 1970s, the Villa in Manila. The Villa in Manila. Muhammad Ali, 14th round TKO over Smoking Joe Frazier. The first fight between Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier, held 4 years earlier in 1971, had far more buildup than their third and final fight in 1975. Before the first fight, Ali had recently returned to the sport after a forced layoff of over 3 years due to his refusal to be drafted into the military during the Vietnam War. Frazier had risen in his place as a dominant heavyweight champion in his own right. The heading into the fight of the century, Ali and Frazier won. They were both undefeated champions. The country was engulfed in political turmoil and hung over the fight as a subtext. Frazier standing over the downed Ali in round 15 is one of the most famous boxing photos of all time. But the third fight in 1975 was the kind of epic back and forth war that Hollywood tries to emulate with movies like Rocky. The Villa in Manila is a kind of platonic deal for a heavyweight prize fight. Kind of fight that you couldn't even write a script to match that kind of fight that ended up being. Now, both men were a bit past their prime for this fight, but nevertheless, they dug deep and achieved near immortal greatness one more time. Angelo Dundee had to convince Ali not to quit late in the fight. Eddie Futch was forced to make Frazier quit after round 14 to protect his fighter after both eyes had finally swollen shut during the 13th round. Villa in Manila. The most memorable fight for the 1960s. Muhammad Ali again. Muhammad Ali, first round knockout of Sonny Liston. It's another most famous pictures in boxing history right there. A half century later, 60 years later, the rematch between Sonny Liston and Muhammad Ali remains one of the most talked about fights ever. The photo of an enraged Ali standing over Liston and yelling for him to stand up is probably the most famous boxing poster in the world. And whether or not Liston took a deliberate dive in May 1965 in Lewiston, Maine, or simply quit rather than risk being made a fool of again by Ali's blinding speed is impossible to know. No one will ever know. But nobody, including Ali, seemed to believe that Liston had been hit hard enough to put him down for a 10 count. Even the choice of venue for this fight was incredibly strange. The arena this fight was held in Lewiston, Maine, was a high school hockey rink. Okay? It's impossible to imagine a less likely location for a heavyweight title fight. The only other world-class fighter to ever fight there was Joey Gamage, and that's because he was actually from Lewiston, Maine. Less than 2,500 people were able to attend due to the limited seating at the venue, the lowest total ever for a heavyweight title fight. Lewiston native, Broadway star and eventual Vegas icon Robin Goulet muffed the lyrics to the Star Spangled Banner before the fight. It was just crazy. In the end, it wasn't much of a fight either. In fact, it was barely any fight at all. However unfortunate, it provided the most enduring and iconic moment in the sport during the 1960s. All right. Most memorable fight of the 1950s. Rocky Marciano, 13th round knockout of Jersey Joe Walcott. In 1951, Jersey Joe Walcott had become the oldest heavyweight champion ever when he beat Ezra Charles at the age of 37. In truth, Walcott probably should have become champion back in 1947 when he lost a highly controversial split decision to Joe Louis, in which he knocked the legendary champion down twice. Walcott had come up in the sport the hard way, and his record was not exactly glittery, which has led him to become seriously underrated in historical terms. He was a slick, talented boxer. He faced the brawling, awkward Rocky Marciano in his first defense in September 1952. And for 12 rounds, Walcott made The Rock look like an amateur. But in round 13, Walcott looked to keep the pressure on Marciano and ended up walking right into one of the most famous right hands in boxing history, Marciano's dangerous Susie Q. Marciano was suddenly the heavyweight champion, and his legend as a great comeback artist was secured. All right, most memorable fight of the 1940s. Joe Louis, 13th round knockout over Billy Conn. Joe Louis, 13th round knockout over Billy Conn. This classic from 1941 came tantalizingly close to being one of the biggest upsets of all time and seriously rewriting the entire history of the sport. Trailing on 2 of 3 cards, And even on the third card, heavyweight champion Joe Louis came from behind in round 13 to knock out his challenger, the light heavyweight champion Billy Conn. Louis had already written his ticket as an all-time great heavyweight champion by this point, having knocked out all 5 men to precede him as champion in the 1930s. Conn was a talented boxer with moxie, but a heavy underdog. The official weights for the fight were given as 199.5 pounds for Louis and 174 for Conn. Okay, 25.5 pound differential. But on the FightSaga.com entry and a couple of other biographies, the true weights were likely 204 for Louis and 169 for Conn. Not 25 pound difference, but 35 pound differential between the two fighters. Okay? 21 YGL green light in the building. Salute, my friend. Today we're looking at right now 10 of the most memorable fights from every decade for the past century, from the 1910s all the way back, 2010s all the way back to the 1910s. And then we're gonna look at the best fighters for every decade for the past century. But salute. 21 YGL green light in the building. Okay. Best fights from every decade, most memorable fight from every decade. Okay, let's continue. Yeah, Joe Louis and Billy Conn. This could have been a bigger upset than Buster Douglas and Mike Tyson if Conn had pulled this one out. And Joe Louis, it said, was officially outweighed Conn by 25 pounds, but unofficially 35 pounds. Conn used his quicker reflexes and faster feet to move in and out of range and outscore Louis for the entire fight up to the 12th round. But after he staggered Louis in round 12, he got greedy, and in the 13th went for the finish and attempted to go toe-to-toe with the legendary Brown Bomber, one of the best finishers in boxing history. The outcome was disastrous for Conn. Knowing he needed a stoppage to win, Louis seized the opportunity he was given by Conn and hammered Conn with a right hand. Louis staggered Conn and went into killer mode. A second right hand dropped Conn, and with 2 seconds left in the round, the underdog was counted out. Yeah, once Joe Louis gets you in trouble, nobody recovers. The best finisher in boxing history. Yeah, and Billy Conn staggered and hurt Louis in round 12. 13, he went for the finish. But instead, he got finished. Most memorable fight for the 1930s. Okay, Joe Louis again. Joe Louis' first round knockout of Max Smelling. Now, this is probably the most important sporting event in United States history. In 1938, with World War II quickly approaching, newly crowned heavyweight champion Joe Louis faced off with former champion Max Smelling of Germany. Now, Smelling was a decent man who had risked his own life later to help Jewish people escape the Nazis during the war, and then keep the story largely hidden for decades out of personal modesty. But in 1938, he was Hitler's and the Nazis' favorite fighter. And 2 years earlier, Smelling had fought a tactically brilliant fight against Louis, knocking him out in round 12. Hitler and the Nazi PR machine had pointed to this as proof that the Germans were a master race. As the rematch approached, the fight became much bigger than the sport itself. it became a battle between the racist ideals of the Germans and the democratic melting pot of the United States. For the first time in history, white America rallied around a Black American athlete as our guy. In the fight, Lewis exploded all over Smelling and crushed him in less than a round. It was a great boxing victory, but beyond that, it was an important step toward the needed civil rights breakthroughs that would follow in the second half of the 20th century in the United States. Okay. Most memorable fight of the 1920s. Gene Tunney, unanimous decision over Jack Dempsey. This was the second fight between them. Just as the second fight between Muhammad Ali and Sonny Liston is still debated today, the rematch between Jack Dempsey and Gene Tunney also continues to inspire speculation and arguments. After using his jab and lateral movement to wrestle the crown from the ferocious Dempsey a year earlier, Tunney was doing more of the same for the first 6 rounds of the 1927 rematch. Then, in round 7, Dempsey connected with the big punch he'd been looking for the entire fight, flooring Tunney. However, the rule requiring a fighter to return to a neutral corner while the ref counted for 10 was new in 1927. And Jack Dempsey hadn't fought in like 3 years and had never been in a fight with that rule. So instead of following the rule, Dempsey continued to loom menacingly over Tunney, as was his normal habit after knocking an opponent down. Yeah, see him standing right there in the, he's supposed to be the referee trying to get him to go over there, but Dempsey wasn't used to that neutral corner rule, so he's standing right there and precious seconds wasted away. This violation delayed the ref's count. There's little debate that Tunney was clearly on the canvas for longer than a count of 10. The argument is whether or not Tunney stayed down that long because he was following the ref's count or was truly unable to get up. Now, it seemed like Tunney could clearly have risen sooner if necessary. At any rate, he recovered and continued to outbox Dempsey from a distance for the rest of the fight, ultimately retaining his title by decision. Okay. All right, most memorable fight for the 2010s is Jack Johnson and James J. Jeffries. There they are, Johnson and Jeffries. Most memorable fight for the 2010s, 2010 to 2020, Jack Johnson and James J. Jeffries. BBO Sports TV in the building. What's up, BBO? Looking at the most memorable fights over the past century. Then we're going to look at the most dominant fighters over the past century. Right now, the most memorable fight for the 1910s, 1910 to 2020. Salute, BBO. Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Fire show. BBO get those interviews. I mean, Stitch Duran. I want to be just like my nephew BBO when I grow up. Jack Johnson and James J. Jeffries, most memorable fight from 1910 to 1920. Okay, let's talk about that one. I was running my mouth and lost my place. Wow. Okay, here we go. Only got a couple more to go, then we're going to get to the fighters. Okay? Let's finish this off. Oh, boy, I went right past it. Okay, let's finish this off. Sorry. Round TKO for Johnson. Most memorable fight for the 1910 to 1919, that decade. Oh. Bear with me for a moment, please. Okay. All right. Just one moment. And we're going to be back in it to win it. Okay, here we go. Jack Johnson and James J. Jeffries. This was a very interesting fight, too. Because they brought James J. Jeffries out of retirement to try to take the title back from Johnson, right? Let's talk about it. Okay. Here we go. While the reign of Joe Louis was a moment in which the United States made important progress in race relations, the country's reaction to Jack Johnson just 30 years earlier was far less laudable. Boxing's first black heavyweight champion was met with shameful racist hostility by the white public, who recoiled in horror at the fact that a man with dark skin had claimed the title of the toughest man on the planet. Now, we can't say that Johnson went out of his way to provoke white America. A grown man has every right to live his life the way he wants to live it. And that's all Johnson really did. But it is accurate to say that Johnson made no efforts to spare the feelings of racists with his own public behavior. He taunted white opponents and dated white women, even marrying one. At the turn of the 20th century, these were unforgivable sins for many Americans. The sporting public became so desperate for a white champion that they dragged former champion James J. Jeffries out of retirement after 6 years. Jeffries had been a great champion, but by 1910, he had grown fat on his farm. Now, Jeffries lost over 100 pounds and managed to get himself into something like fighting condition for the fight with Johnson. But his skills had long since left him and grown rusty. It was one of the most anticipated fights of all time, with telegraph operators sending round by round updates across the country. It was filmed for later showing around the world. And despite the most avid wishes of racist America, Jeffries took a sustained beatdown before going down in round 15 of a scheduled 45-round fight. Yep, Jack Johnson. Okay, and so now we're going to go to the most dominant fighters of every decade, from the 2000s all the way back to the 1880s. Okay, the most dominant fighter of every decade, from the 2000s all the way back to the 1880s. But how's everybody this afternoon? Good to see everybody. We got Emmanuel Navarrete in action this weekend. Yep. Mm-hmm. Emiliano Vargas on the card. Emiliano's doing some fighting. Wow, he's back in action again. Yep. Emiliano. Back in action this weekend. Coming up. We are doing very well with the fights in the card so far this year. But let's look at these best fighters by decade. At the end, I got a little thing, request from Al Booger. It's going to be a little brief history between boxing and rap music. And then we're going to look at some rappers who boxed. Some of these rappers actually got a few pro fights. Some of them just sparred and stuff. Some of them, one of them got a very decorated amateur career. Willie D from the Ghetto Boys. Yeah, he won Gold Glove titles down there in Texas. Willie D, yeah. We're going to talk about that in like 30 minutes, the last 30, 40 minutes of the show. But now, the most dominant boxers from every decade. We're going to start in the 1880s. Come all the way up. Now, there are many criteria that can be considered when compiling lists of greatest fighters, and all of them have wonderful potential for provoking argument and debate. Now, ranking pound for pound boxers from different eras against one another is always problematic, considering the vastly different conditions under which fighters in different eras campaigned and competed, right? But ranking fighters against each other from within the same decade creates a slightly clearer picture. Even then, certain fighters have a distinct advantage given the way their careers arbitrarily line up with the start of a decade. A fighter whose best years run from the second half of one decade and into the early part of the next decade doesn't have the same resume to consider when making fighter of the decade decisions. Still, every fighter on this list could realistically be included on somebody's all-time top 10 ranking. So let's get into it. The 1880s, John L. Sullivan. John L. That's John L. on the right. 1880s. Last bare knuckles champion. First champion in the glove era. John L. Sullivan. Alex Alberto, what's happening? Yeah, I had that one, but I didn't put that one on there, Alex. This is John L. versus Patty Ryan right here. But salute, Alex. How are you today? We're just looking at some where we finished the most memorable fights. Now we're looking at the most dominant fighter of every decade from the 1880s all the way up to the 2000s. But salute, Albert. Cast Sports Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. Like and subscribe, please. Bringing you all that boxing history. Yeah, we didn't go that far with the most memorable fight, but that was definitely it. Yeah. Okay. Now, the 1880s could fairly be called the John L. Sullivan decade. And not just in boxing, but in American popular culture in general. Aside from Wild West legends like Wyatt Earp and Billy the Kid, nobody came close to capturing the public's imagination the way that the brash and boisterous Boston Strong Boy did. According to Ring Magazine founder Nat Fleischer's The Heavyweight Championship, Sullivan captured the bare knuckle heavyweight world title in February 1882 when he starched the gigantic Patty Ryan. That's him and Patty right there. Okay. In July 1889, he won the last bare knuckle championship fight in history when he outlasted Jake Kilrain for 75 rounds. But throughout the decade, Sullivan popularized the use of boxing gloves, paving the way for the sport to transition to its current legally accepted format. Sullivan entertained fans as much outside of the ring as he did in it. His carousing was as legendary as his fighting, and both were covered in every detail by the National Police Gazette and other tabloids of the era. The ultimate salt-of-the-earth hero, the great John L., was as comfortable hobnobbing with royalty as he was tossing down shots and beers at a working man's pub. John L. Sullivan, most dominant fighter of the 1890s, the fighting blacksmith, Bob Fitzsimmons. That's Bob on the right. Technique, salute Technique. Technique says John L. Sullivan is his ancestor. All right. Most dominant fighter of the 1880s, Technique. Salute. John L. Sullivan, his Technique's ancestor. Wow. Okay, 1890s, the fighting blacksmith, Bob Fitzsimmons. Most dominant fighter. We're going to come all the way up to the 2000s. That's Bob on the right. Bob Fitzsimmons is the smallest man to ever hold a heavyweight title. And prior to Roy Jones Jr., he was the only former middleweight champion to ever move up and capture the big prize. Now, Ezra Charles moved from middleweight to heavyweight, but Ezra Charles was never the middleweight champion. That's the distinction between him, Bob Fitzsimmons, and Roy Jones. Bob and Roy Jones both were middleweight champion, moved to heavyweight and won the title, and so did Clarissa Shields. So did Clarissa. She was a middleweight champion and won the heavyweight title too. Born in Cornwall, England, and raised in New Zealand, Fitzsimmons was a blacksmith by trade, and no doubt, pounding iron with a hammer for long hours accounted for some of his ferocious punching power. But pop like Fitzsimmons had can't be developed by any training methods. It can only be handed down by the boxing gods. Few fighters his size have ever had a more powerful punch. He captured the world middleweight title in 1891 when he demolished the non-Imperial Jack Dempsey, who had been regarded as a dominant champion. And this wasn't the heavyweight Jack Dempsey, this was the middleweight Jack Dempsey who came before. Fitzsimmons then proceeded to go undefeated for most of the rest of the decade, usually while fighting larger men. In March 1897, he knocked out Jim Corbett to become the third world heavyweight champion of the glove era. He was finally stopped in June 1899 by Jim Jeffries, an athletic bear of a man who outweighed Ruby Robert by 40 pounds. Yeah, fighting blacksmith Ruby Robert, they also called him. In November 1903, at age 40, Fitzsimmons beat George Gardner to capture the light heavyweight championship to become the first three-division world champion in boxing history. Three-division champion in boxing history. Most dominant fighter from 1900 to 1909, that decade, the old master, Joe Gans. There's the old master on the right. The old master, Joe Gans. Joe Gans was the first Black American to win a world title in boxing. From 1902 to 1908, he reigned as lightweight champion of the world. But throughout the decade, he routinely fought and beat much larger men. His professional record is listed on BoxRec as 145 wins, 10 losses, and 16 draws. But that is an incomplete accounting of his professional accomplishments. Records for the early 20th century are impossible to document with accuracy. Fighters like Gans often fought several times a week and even multiple times in the same day. Due to the tenuous legal status of boxing in this era, fights were usually presented as exhibitions, with newspaper decisions printed the next day. The situation is further clouded due to unscrupulous sports editors, sometimes publishing inaccurate results at the behest of shady promoters. But newspaper records of the era also make clear how dominant the old master truly was. He was routinely described as the elite fighter of the time. Boxing historian Monty D. Cox has an impressive catalog of contemporary praise for Gans on his website. Okay. Most dominant fighter between 1910 and the decade of 1910 to 1919. It's Jimmy Wald. It's Jimmy on the left. The Mighty Atom, Jimmy Wald. Over a century after he retired from the sport, Jimmy Wald is still regarded by many boxing historians as the greatest flyweight of all time. The 5'2", 108-pound Welshman, known as the Mighty Atom, also ranks among the sport's top pound-for-pound punchers, 108 pounds. In 2003, the Ring magazine ranked Wald the third greatest puncher of all time. From the time of his pro debut in 1911 until the end of 1919, Wald compiled an official record of 124 wins, 2 losses, and 1 draw, with 94 knockouts. For his career, his official record was 134 wins, 4 losses, 1 draw, with 99 knockouts. Missed the 100 knockout club by 1 knockout. Wow. But considering the era he fought in, it's a certainty that he fought many more fights that went unrecorded. Like all the greats of his era, he fought and knocked out much larger men on a regular basis. So he probably does have over 100 knockouts too. In boxing, historian Monty D. Cox's excellent online biography of Wald, heavyweight champion Gene Tunney is quoted as calling Wald the greatest fighter I ever saw. Most dominant fighter of the 1920s, the Pittsburgh Windmill, Harry Greb. That's Harry and Gene Tunney. Greb on the right. Harry Greb and Gene Tunney. All right, here we go. Okay, now, Harry Greb established himself as perhaps the greatest middleweight in history during the 1920s. The only fellow middleweight he lost to during the decade was Tiger Flowers. That fight came after Greb had fought nearly 300 professional fights and suffered serious retinal damage. Aside from Flowers, the only fighters Greb lost to during the decade were light heavyweights and heavyweights. He fought bigger men with regularity and nearly always won. He's the only fighter in history to ever beat Gene Tunney. Greb's record during the decade nearly defies comprehension. In 1925, he fought 25 times alone and lost only 1 fight to Gene Tunney. Known as the Pittsburgh Windmill, he was an explosive ball of energy inside the ring and a legendary carouser outside of the ring. Greb's near mythical status is enhanced by the fact that almost no known footage exists of him in the ring. No known footage. Most dominant fighter of the 1930s. Homicide Hank, Henry Armstrong. It's him and Barney Ross, Homicide Hank on the right. Homicide Hank. According to BoxRec, Henry Armstrong lost his first pro fight to Al Avino in July 1931. He proceeded to lose 2 of his next 3 fights. From this inauspicious start, he proceeded to have perhaps the greatest decade in the history of the sport. For the entire decade of the 1930s, he averaged over a fight per month. For the entire decade, not 1 year, The entire 10 years of the decade, he averaged over a fight every month and compiled a pro record of 103 wins, 12 losses, 7 draws. Homicide Hank started at the very bottom and took the hard road up the ranks. In the second half of the decade, he achieved an unprecedented Excuse me for 1 second, please. Okay, here we go. In the second half of the decade, he achieved an unprecedented level of dominance. In October 1937, he knocked out Peter Cerrone to capture the world featherweight title. In May 1938, he roughed up fellow legend Barney Ross to capture the welterweight title by unanimous decision. That August, he beat Lou Ambers to add the lightweight title to his trophy case, holding all three simultaneously. And at that time in boxing, there were only 8 weight classes and only one world champion in each weight class. And Armstrong was the champion in 3 of them, 126, 135, and 147. In today's boxing, as many as 20 or more fighters at any given time hold a claim to a world title within that same 21-pound span. Most dominant fighter of the 1940s, the Brown Bomber, Joe Louis. That's him and Billy Conn again. The Brown Bomber, Joe Louis. Most dominant fighter of every decade for the past century. We're up to the 40s. Joe Louis. And everybody know what Joe Louis did in the 40s. From 1937 to 1949, Joe Louis reigned as a heavyweight champion for an unprecedented 12 years. He was perhaps even more dominant in the 1930s than he was in the 1940s. During the 30s, he knocked out all 5 men who preceded him as champion: Jack Sharkey, Primo Carnera, Max Baer, James J. Braddock, and Max Smelling. You could also make a fair argument for Sugar Ray Robinson as a dominant fighter of the 1940s, but we will be getting to Sugar Ray shortly. But Joe Louis was the face of boxing during the decade of the 40s and one of the biggest stars in all of pro sports. He was the first American hero of any kind whose popularity transcended race. Louis went 18-0 with 15 knockouts during the decade of the 1940s. His level of competition was frequently maligned at the time, but his dominance had a lot to do with how poor everybody else looked against him. During the hard years of the war and the early post-war boom, few things were constant in American society, but there was one thing you could truly count on: Joe Louis being the heavyweight champion of the world during the 1940s. That was one constant. Most dominant fighter of the 1950s, Sugar Ray Robinson. That's Sugar Ray Robinson and Randy Turpin, English fighter that beat Sugar Ray in their first fight. Sugar Ray Robinson began the 1950s as the reigning world welterweight champion. On February 14th, 1951, he captured the middleweight belt by round 13 TKO of Jake LaMotta in the iconic St. Valentine's Day Massacre fight. Robinson was even more dominant in the 1940s when he lost just once in 10 years. But it was still better than everybody else in the 50s, even with a 2.5-year retirement from June 1952 to January 1955. Robinson went 41-5 for the decade of the 50s. 4 of the 5 opponents who beat him are in the Hall of Fame, and 3 of them fell to Robinson in rematches. One of them, Joey Maxim, was the light heavyweight champion, and Robinson was far ahead of him on the cards when he collapsed from heat exhaustion after round 13. Robinson ended the 1950s as the middleweight champion of the world. Ended the 40s as the welterweight champion. Sugar Ray Robinson. Most dominant fighter for the 1960s, Muhammad Ali. That's him and Ernie Terrell right there. The majority of Muhammad Ali's most iconic fights occurred during the 1970s. But by then, he had slowed down a step and was forced to alter his style and rely on guts and gall to win wars of attrition. During the 1960s, Ali dominated the heavyweight division as thoroughly as anyone before or since. He combined legitimate heavyweight size with the quickness of a middleweight, and the combination made him nearly untouchable. He turned pro in 1960 after winning Olympic gold. Between then and March 1967, he put together a perfect 29-0 record with 23 knockouts. In 1964, he captured the world title from the menacing Sonny Liston when he made the Big Bear quit on the stool after 6 rounds. In 1967, Ali refused to be drafted into the military in protest of the Vietnam War. He was denied boxing licenses and stripped of his titles. But the move made him a political icon in addition to a boxing superstar. By the time he was able to return to the sport, it was a new decade, and the second chapter of his remarkable career was about to begin. Muhammad Ali. Okay. The most dominant fighter of the 1970s, the Hands of Stone. Manos de Piedra, Roberto Duran. And Ali in the 60s and Roberto Duran in the 70s is the closest I ever seen to a fighter being unbeaten. Ali in the 60s, Duran in the 70s. Roberto Duran was involved in some of boxing's greatest moments during the 1980s, a decade in which he collected world titles at welterweight, junior middleweight, and middleweight. But he entered the 80s already established as an international superstar and a boxing legend, and one of the sport's top pound-for-pound fighters. He was all that before the 80s even began. During the 1970s, Duran had a dominant run to rival any fighter in the sport's history. He entered the decade as an undefeated teenage super featherweight. He was ferocious, but unrefined. His manager, Carlos Elita, procured the services of legendary trainers Ray Arcel and Freddie Brown. And under their tutelage, Duran developed slick defensive techniques to augment his relentless offense. By the end of the 1970s, a significant percentage of boxing historians regarded the Hands of Stone as the greatest fighter in the history of the lightweight division. Duran compiled a record of 54 wins against just one loss, with 41 knockouts for the decade of the 70s. His only loss came by decision to the super tough Esteban de Jesus. Duran won their 2 rematches by stoppage. The Hands of Stone, Roberto Duran. The most dominant fighter of the 1980s, JCC, Julio Cesar Chavez. In the 1980s, Julio Cesar Chavez put the great boxing tradition of Mexico front and center on the world stage. For the decade, the man known to his fans as JC Superstar compiled a record of 68 wins, 0 losses, with 56 knockouts, while collecting world titles at super featherweight, lightweight, and junior welterweight. Undefeated 3-division champion during the decade. The 80s was very hard, but yeah, JCC gets the nod. Under 68-0 3 division champion during this decade. And the fights that people say the controversies he had were in the 90s. Sweet Pea and Meldrick Taylor, all of them, they were in the 90s. Okay, so no kind of controversies in the 80s. One of the great body punchers of all time, Chavez was all about physical domination. He relentlessly walked down opponents, unconcerned with waging a war of attrition. He became something closer to mortal during the 1990s, though he retained his superstar status and remained a dangerous opponent. Okay? 90s. Most dominant fighter of the 1990s, Captain Hook, Roy Jones Jr. Now in the 2000s, Roy Jones Jr. compiled a pedestrian record of 16 wins, 7 losses. He was knocked out 4 times. He became so average in the 2000s that it was almost difficult to remember how dominant he was in the 90s. He turned pro in 1988 after falling victim to the worst judging decision of any kind in the entire history of the Olympic Games. In May 1993, he won the vacant IBF middleweight title by beating Bernard Hopkins. In November 1994, he moved up to super middleweight and beat James Toney for the IBF title. He lost a single fight during the entire decade of the 90s, that by disqualification, when he accidentally struck Montel Griffin after Griffin had taken a knee during their March 1997 fight. Jones won the rematch 5 months later by first-round knockout. For the decade of the 90s, Jones compiled a record of 36 wins, 1 loss, with 29 knockouts. He ended the last century as the undisputed light heavyweight champion of the world. In 2000 to now, Floyd Money Mayweather. Most dominant fighter 2000 to now, Floyd Money Mayweather. Yeah, you had it right, Alex. Alex said, I'll make the most dominant fighter of the 2000s and 2010s easy for you. Floyd Mayweather. Yep, you got it, Alex. I hadn't even read that yet. Yeah, Floyd Money Mayweather. 2010s. Now, Floyd has been the most dominant fighter in the sport over this century. Okay, from retired fighters, active fighters, whatever. Now, there is some room for his legion of haters to criticize his record. It would have appeared more impressive if he had opted to fight Paul Williams, Antonio Margarito, or Winky Wright between like 2007 2010, instead of briefly retiring to trifle with professional wrestling. And obviously, the fight that came 5 or 6 2 years against Manny Pacquiao might have put a little dent in his legacy, but that wasn't all Floyd's fault. But he's still been more dominant than anybody else in the sport in this decade. Okay? He's had exactly 1 close fight in his career when he beat Jose Luis Castillo with an injured arm in their first fight. And Floyd has handed down plenty of beatdowns in his career, especially at the lower weights. But he dominates through pure boxing acumen. He's a defensive wizard with a ring IQ that rates among the best of all time. Okay? And 50-0 Floyd Mayweather is the most dominant fighter of this century. Okay? So, and there you have it, the best fights, best fighters. Yeah, shout out to Klitschko too. He did his thing. Yes, he did. He did his thing. Okay, now Al Booger requested that we look at some rappers. and boxing, rappers that went into boxing. And we're going to do a little brief history on the relationship between boxing and rap to close the thing down. This part is brought to you by Al Booger. Then we're going to look at some rappers that went into boxing. Okay? So let's get into that to finish off today. Let's finish that off. A little history between the relationship between boxing and rap music. Okay? Let's take a look at that. Finish off today's show. Where do I start at? There we go. Okay. Now, the history of boxing and rap is a cultural collision where both mediums serve as a means of escape and self-expression for those from tough circumstances. Their shared DNA is rooted in rhythm, bravado, and a competitive one-on-one spirit, where rappers battle on a track mirrors a boxer's physical fight in the ring. Muhammad Ali is widely considered a primary influence on hip-hop. His rhythmic, rhyming verbal pugilism, such as float like a butterfly, sting like a bee, provided a template for early MCs to forge their identities and performance styles. Pioneering rap tracks frequently cited boxing icons. Rappers Delight mentioned Ali, while The Message references Sugar Ray Leonard. Beatboxing emerged in the early 1980s. This vocal percussion technique became a core element of hip-hop, sharing the name of the sport and flourishing as a global art form. Now, Mike Tyson's rise in the 1980s coincided with hip-hop's golden era, making him the first true hip-hop athlete. Tyson was the first boxer to walk to the ring accompanied by hip-hop music, specifically through his friendship with Public Enemy. Tyson famously shopped at Dapper Dan's, wearing hip-hop fashions like Don't Believe the Hype jackets, while frequenting the same circles as rappers like Tupac Shakur, who was a good friend of Tyson's. Yeah, Tupac, he was at the Mike Tyson fight earlier on the same evening where he was killed, where he was murdered later that night. Okay, he was at the Tyson-Bruce Seldon fight earlier that very day. Now, the performance-based ring entrance became a staple of major fights, where rappers began performing live while escorting boxers down the aisle into the ring. Okay? In the 1990s, Felix Trinidad made ring walks with Big Pun and Fat Joe. In the 2000s, Sugar Shane Mosley walked to the ring with LL Cool J. In the 2010s, Floyd Mayweather Jr. walked in with Lil Wayne and Justin Bieber. Also in the 2010s, Adrian Broner made ring walks with Kendrick Lamar and Kodak Black. 2023, in his big fight against Earl Spence, Terrence Crawford made his ring walk escorted by Eminem. And last year in 2025, Chris Eubank Jr. walked in with 50 Cent. And the lines between the two worlds have blurred further as artists and athletes switch roles. Okay? Now, some rappers who box. 50 Cent was a competitive amateur boxer in Queens, New York, before his rap career. Other artists who trained seriously or have competed include Eminem, Gucci Mane, and Snap Dogg. Not Snoop Dogg, Snap Dogg, okay? Who became one of the first rappers to obtain a professional boxing license and win a pro fight. And some boxers who rapped. Roy Jones Jr. famously released the hit Y'all Must Have Forgot through his own record label, Body Head Entertainment. Adrian Broner and Blueface have also maintained dual identities in music and combat sports, and some moguls as promoters. Leading figures in rap have moved into fight management. Jay Prince of Rap-A-Lot Records managed elite fighters like Shakur Stevenson, while Damon Dash, and Chris Gotti formed promotional companies in the early 2000s. Now let's look at some boxers who, rappers who box, who train and all of that as boxers now, okay? Let's take a look at that. Some rappers who actually train as boxers. Okay, let's look at that. Like 50 Cent and some other people. Some rappers who actually train as boxers. Okay. Got like 8 of them. I know it's more, but you know, these are some big names or was a little successful at it. Willie D of the Ghetto Boys won gold gloves down there in Texas. Highly decorated amateur boxer. Had a couple pro fights too. We're going to talk about it. Willie D. He fought another rapper, Melly Mel, I believe. Okay, here we go. First one is 50 Cent. 50 Cent. Some rappers who boxed. We're into boxing. 50 Cent is first, okay? Excuse me for a minute. I'm going to turn this light out over here. A little glare on it. Okay, 50. Yeah, first one is 50. 50 Cent. 50 Cent. Okay, there's 50. 50 Cent, the boxing prodigy turned rapper. Not many people know this, but before Curtis Jackson became 50 Cent and took the world by storm, he was actually an amateur boxer. Growing up in Queens, New York, 50 Cent was known for his athleticism and dedication to the sport of boxing. He excelled in the ring, winning numerous boxing tournaments, and even had dreams of becoming a professional fighter. However, as fate would have it, his path took a different turn when he discovered his talent and passion for rapping. Nevertheless, his background in boxing has had a lasting impact on his life, and he has maintained strong ties to the sport as a promoter. 50 Cent. And this portion of the show is brought to you by Al Booger. This was an Al Booger idea. What's up, Thomas Hill? Salute. We're looking at some rappers who box. Want to get this in for Al Booger. I don't think he's in here, but he'll probably check it out. But salute, Thomas Hill. Okay, another rapper who had a little background in boxing is Rick Ross. Rick Ross. Let's salute Thomas Hill. How are you today? Christmas. Okay, bear with me for one moment, please. There we go. And turn sideways on me. Okay. We're good. Okay. Rick Ross. Boxing background. Rapper. Rick Ross, also known as Rose in the hip-hop world, has always been known for his larger-than-life persona. Beyond his music, he also likes to train in the sport of boxing. We now know this after he caught many fans by surprise with his display of boxing skills on Instagram. In one of his videos, he showcases his boxing moves while working the pads with his trainer. While some didn't expect him to enjoy such a sport due to his size, that video is a testament to show that boxing is a sport that actually welcomes those of all shapes and sizes. Okay? Another rapper with a boxing background is Meek Mill. Meek Mill. the heavy bag enthusiast. Meek Mill's rise to fame in the rap industry has been marked by his lyrical prowess and storytelling abilities. However, it was his encounter with former world champion Gary Russell of Virginia a few years back that put his passion for boxing in the spotlight. Remember? After their altercation at the Capitals One Arena during the Gervonta Davis-Hector Luis Garcia fight, Meek Mill posted a video of himself hitting the heavy bag on Instagram, essentially prepping himself for the next time someone tries to start something with him in public. So even though his skills were of a newcomer, we now know that he's actually involved and dedicated to improving those skills. Okay? Another rapper. This is brought to you by Al Booger, by the way. Another rapper, Gucci Mane. Gucci Mane. Boxing background. Gucci Mane, pads and punches. Gucci Mane, known for his unique style and influence on the rap scene, has also ventured into the world of boxing. He regularly shares videos of himself hitting the pads with his trainer, showcasing his ability to throw hands. These videos not only reveal his interest in boxing, but also underscore the importance of his discipline and hard work in his life. Gucci Mane's journey in the sport is a reminder that staying fit and focused can be achieved no matter how busy and chaotic the rest of your life might be. Another rapper with a boxing background, Eminem. Eminem. Yep. Eminem, hailed as one of the greatest rappers of all time, has been passionate about boxing for years. What sets him apart from the rest is the genuine hobbyist approach he takes toward the sport. In interviews, Eminem has humorously recounted stories of getting beat up by a 13-year-old in sparring, emphasizing his humility and love for the sport of boxing. His dedication extends beyond mere training, as he walked out with Terrence Crawford during Crawford's fight against Earl Spence, where Crawford became the undisputed welterweight champion of the world. Eminem's involvement in boxing is a testament to his character, discipline, and lifelong commitment to personal growth. Eminem. Okay, and a couple more. The next one is Snap Dogg. Remember, not Snoop Dogg. Snap Dogg, right? Right here. I ain't talking about Snoop. I'm talking about him. Snap Dogg. Right? That's him up there. Now he's had some professional fights. Yeah. Snap Dogg has fought professionally. Yeah. Let's talk about Snap. Fought professionally. Okay. Here we go. Snap Dogg is a prominent Detroit trill rapper who transitioned into professional boxing. He currently balances his music career with professional fighting and sports promotion. You know, fighting and promotion. Snap Dogg does. He officially turned pro in 2021. Now, Snap Dogg won his first pro fight against Yasser Abdullah by knockout in the 4th round. He competes as a featherweight. In 2024, he launched his own boxing promotions company called Slide Promotions. He held his first major promotional event called Undisputed Boxing on December 7th, 2024 at the Mirage in Clinton Township, Michigan. This event featured local fighters and guest appearances by fellow Detroit rappers like Sada Baby and Royce Day 5'9". As Snapdog views his boxing career as a strategic game similar to chess, rather than just a physical brawl. Okay, got a couple more. Blueface, talking about some rappers that got into boxing. Blueface. There's Blueface right there. The rappers brought to you by Al Booger. Rappers that got into boxing. Blueface. The rapper Blueface, also known as Jonathan Porter, is his government name. He's an undefeated celebrity boxer who signed with Bare Knuckles Fighting Championship, the BKFC, in 2021. He secured wins against TikToker Kanye Trujillo in 2021, winning by decision, and Ed Matthews in 2023, winning by TKO. Known for his 6'5" frame and serious training, he's had other matchups canceled due to legal issues and license denials. Now, Blueface has trained seriously, even sparring with Floyd Mayweather Jr. He doesn't treat his events as mere publicity stunts. And he was stabbed at a boxing gym in 2023, forcing him to cancel a scheduled fight. And finally, Willie D. Willie D was a Gold Glove amateur of the Ghetto Boys. Willie D, yeah, he was a Gold Glove amateur fighter. Yes, he was. Willie D was. Yeah. Some of these rappers were serious about their boxing. Al Booger will probably see this on the replay. Yeah, let's talk about Willie D. Yeah, he was and we're gonna and 50 Cent was also a promoter. He filed for bankruptcy, but yeah, he had a promotions company called SMS. Okay. But Willie D. Willie D. Hold me up. Okay, Willie D. There we go. Yeah, Willie D. Very brief. Willie D began boxing at the age of 11 and won the Golden Gloves for the state of Texas in 1985. Decorated amateur. Now, he went on to choose a career as a rapper, overturning pro as a boxer, but he eventually turned to boxing during the 1990s. He won his first pro fight in 1992, knocking out Melly Mel, another rapper, at a charity boxing show by accident after the two bumped heads in the first round, knocked Melly Mel out. Now, Willie D had two more pro fights between 1999 and 2000, beating Charles Aguilera by TKO in October 1999 and John Tarman by knockout in June 2000. And they had a draw against John Washington on August 24th, 2000. In Willie D's last pro fight, he lost to Yameen Muhammad by TKO in October 2000. Yeah. Decorated amateur, couple Golden Gloves titles, but had a brief pro career. And 50 Cent let's talk about 50 Cent's final thing, promotional company. Yeah. 50 was a promoter. Yes, he was. SNS. He was in partnership with Floyd and the Money Team, but then Floyd went to jail and then they had their falling out, so 50 formed his own company after that, but it didn't make it, you know. Yeah, but he was a part of the Money Team originally. 50 was. It is 50 again with the head turned around backwards. Did we do Blueface? Yeah, we did Blueface. Okay, yeah. 50 Cent, SNS Promotions. SNS Promotions, officially called SNS Promotions LLC, was a professional boxing promotion company founded by rapper and entrepreneur Curtis 50 Cent Jackson in 2012. Now, 50 Cent launched the company in November 2012 after receiving a license from the Nevada State Athletic Commission. It was initially conceived as a joint venture with Floyd Mayweather Jr. under the name The Money Team, the TMT. Following Mayweather's 2012 incarceration and the subsequent public falling out between the two, 50 Cent proceeded with the business solo under the SMS brand. Now, the company's roster included several prominent boxers: Yuriorkis Gamboa, former featherweight champion. He had Yuriorkis at one time. James Kirkland, Andre Durrell, Olympic gold medalist, and Billy Dibb, and Celestino Caballero. In March 2015, SMS Promotions filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, protecting in Connecticut. Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection in Connecticut, 2015. Now, court documents at the time reported debt between $100,000 and $500,000. Now, the filing was strategically aimed at reorganizing the business while protecting 50 Cent's personal investments in the sport. Now, it occurred shortly after his fighter, James Kirkland, suffered a high-profile knockout loss to Canelo Alvarez. Now, following the filing, several of the company's star fighters sought legal releases from their contracts, as the promotional activity stalled. By 2016, most remaining contracts, including those of Ryan Martin and Yuriorkis Gamboa, were terminated or separated. Now, the SMS brand, which stands for Studio Mastered Sound, was also used for 50 Cent's other major businesses at the time: SMS Audio, a high-end headphone and accessories company. SMS Audio served as a primary sponsor of the boxing events and even expanded into NASCAR sponsorships. But there you have it, some rappers with boxing backgrounds. Brought to you by Al Booger. All right. That's going to be Snap Dogg. Is another rapper to you. That's him right here. This is Snap Dogg right here. That's Snap. Oh, shoot. A little small to be Snoop. Snap fights at featherweight, I believe. And Snoop Dogg was reportedly trying to start a promotional company along with Triller, but I don't think that worked out. Remember, he commentated the fight between Tyson and Roy Jones. Remember, did a pretty good job. And then they were talking about forming a promotional company along with. He was supposed to be affiliated with Triller, but I don't think that worked out because I never heard nothing else about it. But that's it. Boxing and rap. Al Booger had requested that we do something on that today. So we did. Okay. He'll see it on the Replay. Mm-hmm. Okay, we're going to get a / We're going to get a brief link. Because it's not too bad. It's not too. They said it was going to be real bad, but it's not that bad at all up here where I'm at. So I got to go out there before it get too bad. Mm-hmm. Get out there before it get too bad. Okay. There we go. All right. Yeah, the professor, T. I don't think he was in here today. We got BBO from the Sports Talk Network coming up tonight at 8. Just Do coming up in a few minutes. Yeah. 4. Okay, where's the cursor at, man? Oh, there it is. Way up there. Here we go. All right. What's up, Thomas Hill?
What's good with you guys?
Oh, not too much, man. Just another day talking this boxing.
Yeah, man. Giving us some good boxing talk. Giving us some facts that probably people didn't know about. Hey, can't beat that, man. You know, everything else out here.
Do something on some rappers that was in the boxing, you know, as far as promoting and all that. So I found a couple. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what's up. You know, the influence of trying to cross audiences and you know, industries, you know, just to make money. They find a new way to make a mix. But, you know, it's cool to see that, you know, there's people who, you know, even though they had some form of amateur background or pedigree, they still, you know, a little something about the sport.
They got Willie D from the Ghetto Boys won some couple gold medals down there.
Yeah. So yeah, you be surprised who these people are, man. That's why sometimes you need to just chill and let them do their thing, man. Because these Mickey Freaky done, they got certified hands.
He might have made it in boxing, you know, but he had he decided to go that way, you know.
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. To make it in boxing, you got to have a lot go for you.
That's true.
As opposed to music, if you got talent, you got to have a lot go for you with music as well too. But it's a little bit more accessible. Because in boxing, we still find today. I mean, that's why you got some boxers going over the zoo for not knowing what to expect. Mm-hmm. But what they do know is that they can get fights and they're going to get paid for fights better probably than they do on a regular for the fights that they do here because they're not main events or contending fighters. Some of the people, I don't understand why they're going there. I'm thinking that they just probably broke them off with a big contract so that they could bring their star power there to try to legitimize the ring. But like folks like Conor Ben, like he just literally threw Eddie Hearns under the bus. Eddie Hearns been vying for this, which is poetic justice for me because I felt like he threw Jaleel Hackett under the bus.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Backing Conor up to, you know, through the drugs. He left Eddie. Wow.
Yeah, he's over at Sufa now. He's there. Somebody else is over there. Somebody just recently signed too. Not Jai Patai. Jai Patai is there.
Jai is there. Yeah.
But there's somebody else that just recently signed. That's now over there too.
Who was it? We was talking about that last week. Me and Irony was talking about that last week.
So there's some names over there that try to give it a legitimacy, but you know, for the most part, it's a reason why Dana got so many losses versus the UFC fighters, man. They're not gonna get.
It's like about the
this week last.
Yeah, one just went past. Brian.
Well, first and foremost, I'm gonna start off with Richardson Hitchens. I think that you know what's going on with this. Breaking up
a little. Yeah.
I'm still breaking on this. Let me turn down this volume on mine because it seems like my glue is blowing right now. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So first thing I'm gonna do is start off with Richardson Hitchens.
Yeah.
I think that he's made a habit of calling up folks and saying that he wants these fights, and then my reason he pulls out of fights.
I know. Ain't that crazy? Always calling
Now,
out somebody, but then pulling out.
I think that he pulled out this fight because honestly, I don't think he truly wanted to get in there and possibly look bad against somebody that got Ryan knocked out. Now, Ryan knocked out this dude, but Ryan was struggling mightily in that fight.
Mm-hmm.
He had to find a way, and he just so happened to have he has sudden pop, and it hit, and it got him up out of trouble. But for the most part, he was in trouble that whole fight with that fool Dueño. Dueño ain't no joke.
And Richardson was having trouble with the Ukrainian guy.
Yeah,
remember?
Yeah, and he was also having.
Might have been a problem for him, T. Hill. You know that? You know? Well, Thomas Hill fell off. Yeah, some people was thinking that Duarte might have been a problem for Richardson. But Richardson made sure that he pulled out.
He was also having trouble with Gustavo's Limos too.
That's the one I'm thinking about, Limos.
Yeah. And I think that that pressure that they bring is something that he's not accustomed to dealing with. Now he said he had the flu, and then he said he was having trouble with the weight. Then move up. If you're having trouble with the weight, move up.
Move up. You can't make that excuse. You can make it once. You can't make that excuse again then.
So I thought that, he really sold the card. The card could have been really special. It could have been a really good fight because it could have showed that he was either one of the ones at the division or Limos ain't as bad as people want to. I mean, not Limos, but Duarte not as bad as people want to give him credit for.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, unfortunately, people get called garbage and trash based on who the other folks like. And I'm tired of that, man. These fights.
Somebody else too.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So because you want to slight somebody else, you're gonna say, well, this dude wasn't good.
Right.
Man, come on, man. We got to see it in the ring. So he robbed us of that moment, and on top of that, he robbed the card of a very, very good. Everything else was great on the card.
Yeah.
It was a great action. It was competitive bouts.
Hiriaka showed up too.
As we thought he would. Yeah. People told him there was going to be a tough fight for Antoine. I thought that was a fight that Antoine thoroughly controlled, but I thought that, my man Hirioka came over there to win, and it showed. He made him fight. You had to adjust.
He had to work for that hard.
Yeah, he had to work hard. So, you got to give him credit. I don't know about the Frank Albright fight. I thought that was a great fight too. Depending on who you like, again, that's a person. As you can see in the commentary, what I really want to tell you first and foremost, the commentary was biased against every single PBC fighter.
Crazy, man.
Every single CB fighter got
they ridiculous.
Yeah, negative commentary. It was crazy. So you could see what was going on there. That being said, there's a lot of people who don't, in these chats, they don't like the PBC for some odd reason. So they go against them. So yeah, it's the people who saw it, that fight, they said that Frank lost. The people who don't give a dang about the PBC say it was either a draw or Frank won. And the people that like the PBC say Frank won. But what I do know is it was a good fight.
It was a good fight. That's the main.
A really good fight.
Which I knew that was going to be. I was thinking that might be the best one of the night going into it.
Yeah, it ended up being a lot of good fights on that card. Yeah. A lot of good fights.
Yeah.
So shout out to them, man. They produced something that they can run back.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they.
T. Hill. Everybody was thinking if he won, we might get him and Keyshawn. He'd have messed all that up now.
Yeah, I don't know what Keyshawn gonna do. I don't think Keyshawn's gonna I don't know what he's gonna do, honestly, man. I think that he's still trying to find himself from that fall back.
140 against what's the name in Jermaine, right?
Yeah, he did.
So he's up there.
But I think that both of them planning on going up. I don't think that he wants to be there with Shakur. I don't think Shakur is going back down. So I think Shakur is going to stay there at 40. I hope he does, because there's a lot of wreck there at 40 for him. A lot of good fights to be made. And I think that he's not going to be operating in the same class, so he'll go up one, because I think he's a little bigger than Shakur.
Yeah, I think 147 would be good for him and Hitchens.
So they still can make that fight, because I think Richardson need to go up to 147.
Yeah, you talk about trouble making the weight, go up. That's the next thing.
Exactly.
And make that excuse again next time. Talking about you had trouble and back out again. You got to go up.
Nah, yeah, it's too many times. And then you why fight for that belt if that's the, you know what I'm saying, if that's the problem.
Right.
But honestly, the way that the IBF does with hydration, that's how all boxing
should be
sanctioning bodies should do.
Yeah.
It should be no more than 15 pounds you get to rehydrate.
And that's a pretty good number right there too. Yeah.
Because like when I was young and I watched boxing, the rehydration was like within 4 to 7 pounds.
Yeah, they used to do it. Hey, you didn't have a whole bunch of time to put all that weight back on, you know? Yeah,
remember when they said it was a rehydration of 10 pounds? They were like, man, he had a bad rehydration, you know, we don't know how it's going to affect him. And that was just 10 pounds. Now you got people putting on 30 pounds.
That's crazy.
And I don't understand. I can't take off 30 pounds in one night. How the fudge I could put on 30 pounds in one night?
I don't know what they're doing. They got these nutritionists and stuff, and they pay them to show them exactly how to do it. They're doing it, you know. And it's unfair. That's weight. Some people say weight bullying is a myth, but that's weight bullying right there.
But Cass, if you wanted to lose 30 pounds in one night, could you do it?
I don't know. That don't seem healthy, man. To me,
man, I done ate like pounds of food and I ain't put on that many pounds of food.
No, I didn't go one day, man. It might take me some months.
I don't understand it. It's mind blowing to me, and I got people, because they rock with certain folks, justifying that, and I just don't understand it. But
doing it overnight,
I think that, you know, everybody should incorporate the 15-pound weight limit, man. You shouldn't be blowing up, because that means then you're fighting at weights that you're not belonging to.
Unfair. It's unfair.
And that's unfair to the opponent. That's unfair to the people too that's doing it, because they're hurting themselves to do this.
You're fighting for the 140 title, but you're actually at a middleweight, you know, so we should be fighting for the middleweight title.
Exactly. So with that, you know, that was a kind of a mark on the card, but everything else was great. Every other fight was very competitive, and full of action. Like I said it many times that I thought there was going to be at least 3 stoppages. Coming to find out that, you know, it wasn't that many stoppages, but there were some knockdowns and there was some great fights. And, you know, for the most part, the overall card, I mean, shout out Ryan. I mean, he's getting ran through the mud, even still in a victory. Everybody's saying, you know, he on juice and, you know, this and that. Man, they just don't like him, man, because it took away a moment for Dev. And that's what they can't like, because Dev is one of the people that stands against
because of that,
the operation of the PBC. So they wait. And this is the coldest thing, man. It's black folk that do this, man, a lot. Yeah. They don't realize that these people are against the involvement of the PBC in there because it's minority ran.
I know, that's crazy.
And they're jumping on board. It's like, man, why if the shit is being under siege and you're part of the people, why would you try to jump on it and put it under more siege? But that's what's going on.
It don't make sense.
And you can see it clearly, man. Like, they were seriously biased against all PBC fighters on there, man. All PBC fighters. And you know, I'm just glad that, you know, they get a chance to run these fights back, because these fights were good fights.
Mm-hmm.
And
getting them right though, you know.
Shout out to the dude, Nair Albright. Albright showed that he's somebody to be reckoned with.
I knew that. I was trying to tell people all week.
Yeah, people don't want to give him his credit, man. I thought he actually did better against Keyshawn than most people do. I mean, I don't think that it was a clear-cut win for Keyshawn. I think that he got the benefit of some rounds. I thought that Nair Albright did the better work in the fight. I thought that Keyshawn did do some good work late that made an impression, but that's the course of boxing. So I mean, he's had some good fights and some good runs around there. So hopefully they get to run that fight back, and this time they'll have a more declared winner.
Nair got a good resume. He getting in there with the names.
Yeah, he do. Yeah, he do, and he handles himself.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
So hopefully they run that one back. And then I'm glad to hear that your boy Barrios is retiring, man. After the fight, in his interview, he sounded like he could barely talk, bro. So
he said he was retiring.
Yeah, that's what I heard. I hope that's true.
I didn't watch the end of it, but ain't too much up more. He ain't getting no title back. Who's he?
He taking too much punishment too, man.
Yeah.
Like I said, the way he was talking pretty terrible up in there. He might have had a concussion. He might have fought through a concussion in that fight, man. I think they should have stopped that fight because he didn't sound like he was.
He took some punishment over his career.
Yeah, he did, man.
A lot of shots from how heavy-handed Tank is, and look what Keith Thurman was punishing him.
Keith Thurman really punished his ass. Yeah. I'm sorry, but I think he took more damage in that fight than any other fight he's fought in.
Yeah, I'll be happy if he do retire, T. Hill. Yeah, it's nothing else he can do. He done made some money, So.
Yeah, he done made some good money. So him and his family, they can settle down.
He can train and stuff. He can stay
make some investments in some property and continue to get some money off of that, or
and work with some young fighters.
Yeah,
somebody will hire him on. He got good knowledge of the sport and everything, that experience.
And I hope that we can get some treadway on that Devin versus Ryan rematch, because that's what I really want to see.
What would you rather see, Devin and Ryan rematch or Shakur and Ryan?
I would rather see the rematch first.
And Shakur fight the winner.
Yeah, I would rather see the rematch first. I think they need to bring closure to that. And I think the longer you put that fight off, the longer the worse chance it has of being made. Because I don't really think the Haneys want the fight, to tell you the truth.
But Ryan messed around and lost to Rolly. I think we would have had it by now.
Possibly. But the way that the Haneys act, man, you got to jump through hoops to fight them, dog.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We possibly could have had it.
They were selective.
But I'm not. We come from a different guard, man. People lost very good fighters, like some of the very best lost and still got fights.
Yeah.
So this new wave is crazy, man. I don't understand how a loss takes you out of contention, especially when you had a lawsuit in play and you canceled the lawsuit to make the fight. If that's the narrative, then why are we not making the fight? I'll be wanting that fight back. I lost money out of that.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
So hopefully they get that one, and then maybe winner she could. But what I'm really hoping for, man. I know a lot of people can push back on this, but I'm hoping that still that Tank versus Devin, that Tank versus Shakur, and that Tank versus Keyshawn, because those are the people that Tank is supposed to be not able to fight well against and from. So I want them to.
I hope he gets back, man, and at least get some of these fights in.
I think he's coming back, man. I think he lost a significant amount of money in the Jake Paul fight.
Yeah, and I believe he ran away, tail tucked between his legs. Would there be sad about him forever?
Not only that, though, man. Like, I honestly believe that they had a lot to do with the fact that this dude is in some trouble right now. We need to get out the fight. I feel that way, man. I don't know why I feel that way. I feel like, given Jake and how he moves, and given how this thing transpired, and how, like, all of a sudden now it looks like, it was a lot deeper than what's going on. Like, a lot of play. Him saying he saw the video. that leads me to believe that that really wasn't no video, but what he did was send somebody that way that they can use it. Because I think he got beat on by Shakur and them, all them people that went over there to spar. And I thought he probably thought that, well, if these Negroes is doing it, what's this Mickey Fricky gonna do? Because he's as skilled as they all are, and he's got more power.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, you know, he wanted a way out, bro. I don't think that everything transpired the way they did. And the fact that when Dev and them had that little fiasco at the presser for the Ryan T.O. fight, it came out instantly. How come nothing came out instantly on Tank during this stuff? The police wasn't called till 3 days later.
Yeah, it just don't add up.
It don't add up, man. So for some odd reason, you know, I think if he ain't getting no big lawsuit against him, he gonna have to make that money up. So we gonna have to get some big fights, and I think that there's none other. And then just looking at the way people are, you know how we're in a day and age where people make prank videos and challenge videos.
Mm-hmm.
I think that everything that they're doing right now is coming along the same lines, but with just the scope of boxing attached to it. Everything's a prank, everything's a challenge, but nothing is actually the actual real. I think we need the real to come back in there. So I think we need these real matchups, these real fights, these fights we've been asking for. So I'm hoping that, you know, that generates more buzz to see this and more and more intrigue for, you know, him to go up in there and try to leverage his A side to make these fights.
Yeah, he come back. And
yeah, that's if he coming back. Like, yeah, for sure. But I think because he didn't make that big money, and there's money to be made out there before he settled down. And plus, then there's the clear your air, clear your name, and everything like that.
Yeah, get himself together first. You know?
Yeah. But it would have to be at bigger weight classes. You can't do it at 35 no more. It's gonna have to be somewhere the catch weight or.
Devin, everybody that went up, so he's gonna.
They up. So if it is to happen, he's gonna have to move up for sure.
He's been at 140 before.
Even if it's a catch weight.
Yeah.
Because these cats don't care about belts no more. So that narrative is that they're looking for legacy. That stuff went out the window as soon as the moment that, you know. They couldn't hold that over.
Crazy with these belts now, stripping people, demanding sanctioning fees. This all kind of nonsense to get them belts. You know.
Absolutely.
I mean, they ain't gonna make the fight no less.
No, I won't. I won't. I mean, hell, they talking about Boots versus freaking what's his name? Virgil, and neither one of them have a belt.
Yeah, and that's one of the biggest fights in boxing. Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Devin versus Loma didn't have a belt.
Nope.
So you know,
some fights, they just huge fights.
Yeah,
been watching so long, nobody worried about no belt. Mm-mm.
And after years down the line, people don't talk about, oh, it was a championship fight. It was just about us to fight.
Yeah, years from now, when you look back,
was Foreman versus Live for a belt.
You don't talk. There was 2 belts on the line, but many people when like Sugar Ray Hagler, you don't really talk about no. I don't even remember what belt it was on the line. I know it was something. I don't know what it was. WBA, WBC, something. But I just worried about the fight now. 40 years later.
About Live versus Foreman. Was there a belt on the line at that time?
Yeah, it was some belt. Hagler. I think Hagler might have been undisputed, right? It was WBA and WBC. But see, we can't even remember, so belts don't mean all that no more, man. Mm-mm. Nah. Yeah, T. Hill fell off. Gotta get ready to get up out of here anyway. But yeah, hope everybody enjoyed the show. You still out there, T. Hill? Yeah, we're gonna get ready to get up out of here anyway. I gotta go out here before it get too bad. It's not too bad up here in Maryland right now with the snow. When they talking about other places, it's like stuff done come to a standstill. It's kind of clear. They doing a good job on the roads and stuff. They on top of it. But I want to get out there while they still on top of it. Okay. But yeah, that's going to be it. Thomas Hillen dropped off. So we will come back tomorrow with another one.
Make these fights and get these things going on and let these promoters start to work.
Oh, shit, Tia.
Good, man. You good. You good.
I thought you dropped off, but yeah, I hit to add you and I took you off.
Nah, you just put yourself on the big screen so that nobody else could be seen. Sometimes people do that.
I didn't even realize it. I must have hit something by accident. And I couldn't hear you or anything. Damn.
Oh, you took yourself off when you were gone. Yeah, you took yourself off.
Oh, that's what happened. I knew something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought you had disappeared. I disappeared.
Yeah, you disappeared.
Yeah.
But then when you came back on, you took yourself and put you on the big screen. Took me off.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But yeah, man, I mean, it was some good fights this week. What did you think about the Franchon Cruz, Carissa Shields? Did you watch that?
No, I didn't watch that one.
Neither did I. Unfortunately, I was listening to it. I was at work. I don't know how the card went or the fight, but from what I saw, from what I heard, one person who likes Clarissa glowed up her performance, and the other person who is just even keel said, man, it wasn't like that. She just won. Huh? Yeah, well, she got to, because if she's going to fight, there's not too many people that she can fight. And one of the girls that was calling her out just lost to a girl she beat. So, you know, it's like there's no competition where she is. Most of the good fights are at the lower divisions because most of the women are around that size. I mean, you don't have many women that are like 175.
You think she can get down below like 154?
No, I don't think she should have to either.
No.
I think she came in at 154. Why would she have to go below 154? Now, I think that she can get to like 160.
Yeah.
I think she can get to 160. I think she can stand. I mean, when you look at both them women, they didn't look like they were in shape. They look big.
Franchon never looked in shape. She looked like
but she never looked like, man, she had the Michelin body up in there.
She always want to wrestle and I don't know what. But yeah, I think Clarissa will beat Shadeja too, but I wouldn't mind seeing it. You know?
Yeah, I mean, that's somebody that would you think give her a chance, but some of these people, man, they not gonna give her no good fight.
Nah,
they're not really boxers for real. She been boxing most of her life.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody brought up to me that, you know, she was highly decorated and all that. I said, yeah, but you got to realize the people who came before her didn't have these opportunities.
And they had Olympics and all that for women.
You know, if they had that, they would have been decorated too.
Yeah. She went to the first one, 2012 was the first one for women. Yeah.
Good. I know what I said.
Them would have had gold medals too if they would have had that. You know?
Yeah, because she be stinging, was really stinging folks. She was putting punches together and she was putting them down. Mm-hmm. Like, it's rare when women are getting knockouts, for
like
one.
That. I'm serious.
It's rare. So I don't hold knockouts against her.
Mm-mm.
But there were women, and there are women who do get knockouts.
Yeah. She almost got 80-something, high 80%. Layla does. That's unheard of. In women's boxing. She definitely would have won. She never got beat. So what's saying somebody would have beat her in the Olympics? Nobody else never beat her. You know?
Yeah, I don't believe not Layla. Layla she was a specimen. She was a big girl who was fast and who could punch hard.
Yeah.
A lot of people, they say that, you know, she was basic and this and that, but she used to put her punches. She put the punches together, man. I don't know why people like to hate on certain folks just to prove
her fight. Say that.
Yeah, that's what I thought, man. I thought the same thing, Kaz. I was like, you must have didn't get to see her fight.
They heard somebody else say that. You know, how can you be basic and be undefeated? Everybody must have been basic then.
Well, that's what they're saying. They're saying that it wasn't good fighters back then.
Okay.
And it's kind of funny because it's the opposite for men. They say that they're no good fighters now, and back then they could fight.
Yeah.
You see how that worked? You know what I'm saying? That's funny about everything. Like how is it that way for men, but not for women?
Not for women. Yeah.
But
a lot of good fighters back then, man.
Yeah, it was, and unfortunately, at that time, the women weren't respected in a way in the ring that they would put their events on, and a lot of times their people didn't want them in the ring as well too. Mm-hmm. So
that's true too.
We got to take that in the proper context. I will say this: for what she was available for, and what she had the opportunity to pursue, she was the best to doing what she did, and I will give her that. But to say the best ever, nah, I can't do that. It's kind of tough for me to do that in every single sport, man. It's kind of hard to say somebody was better than everybody else.
You can't really tell. Different eras, different rules, different everything. It's hard to choose between eras like that.
But what I will say is you're absolutely right. I don't think Shadeja Green beats her either. I just think that she's too complete a boxer. And the only way that you're gunning to get her is if you can make her fight. Now, if you can make her fight, then you can do it. And see, that's the one thing that Savannah Marshall was able to do. Savannah Marshall was able to make her fight. Hannah Gabriels was able to make her fight.
Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Savannah, she had that attitude. Remember, Savannah had beat her in the amateurs.
Yeah.
Savannah played off that.
Yeah.
She had her mentally. Like you said, she made her fight.
Yeah, she had to pull that fight out. That was a good fight, man. I mean, a lot of people thought Savannah won the fight. Now, I don't think she won the fight, but I think that Clarissa won it in the last 2 rounds. I think she pulled it out in the last 2 rounds. I think she pulled it out in the last 2 rounds against Hannah Gabriel too.
All the way. Going into the championship rounds, it wasn't no clear winner. Yeah, she needed them. She had to go out there and fight.
Yeah.
The entire fight.
And there are no more opponents that can make her fight. You can't let her box. You got to make her fight. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if Shadeja can make her fight.
Yeah, had the fight won by that point against Shadeja.
Yeah.
You have it on the cards comfortably by then, Shadeja, she been let her hands go against Franchon. I know she's not gonna fight Clarissa like that, or she'll get wiped out. But Franchon was doing a lot of grabbing and stuff too, though. It's kind of hard.
But Franchon, if Franchon had conditioning, it could be a different story for her. But she don't have conditioning.
No, she don't. Not at all, man.
Because she can make the fight ugly. But credit to from what I was told, she didn't allow her to get it to the point where it was against Shadeja Green. And that's how you got to beat. You got to see with Savannah. Nah, Savannah made it a fight. You ain't gonna just box me. We gonna fight. Mm-hmm. And Savannah also was a lot longer to reach.
Yeah, skills pay the bills.
And got some serious skills, man. She got some stuff that ain't really conventional, man. That I think she gets away with. That makes it difficult to get her. And she throw that shoulder at you too. She throw that elbow at you. She do some stuff, man, that make it a fight.
She's smart too. She got a good.
She's very smart. Very, very with that nuance. She got nuance to her game, and that's why it was tough. But they're getting older, so. These older women can't beat Clarissa. The younger woman, I don't know if she got seasoned.
So like the younger ones down there, like in the lower weight classes, though, like lower red.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, those would be the better fights for her because they got the skill.
They so small though.
They just too small. And like I said, she is clearly. If we're talking about women fighting one another. Mm-hmm. There's only maybe 2 names bigger than hers, and that's questionable. But I would say Serrano's name is a bigger draw. I would say that Katie Taylor may be a bigger draw.
Yeah, I would say so.
But as far as accolades, none of them have the accolades that she has. So she would command the A side.
Yeah.
And you know, you can't expect somebody that dropped from 75 to go all the way below 50. That's 25 pounds. And then, you know, yeah.
Like Katie and Saranda and Amanda had each other. Clarissa don't have that. Like Katie and Saranda, Amanda Serrano had each other. Clarissa don't have nobody like that in women's boxing. She can match up with, you know. You know what I mean?
Nah, you're absolutely right.
No kind of
and like I said, that's not her fault. That's not to her detriment. It's just that that's what it is. And ain't nobody up there that can fight.
Right. That's right.
Because women usually aren't that big that are athletes.
Yeah.
And you got to be somewhat of an athlete to box.
Yeah, she don't have nobody to have that kind of trilogy with, going to be competitive, make that money like that, and push her like that. She don't have nobody. Not up there where she at.
Yeah. And to be perfectly honest, I don't believe that Clarissa's even in the best of shape. She just able to carry the weight.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because she got a bigger frame. But she should be boxing somewhere about 150 something.
Something like that would be ideal. Where was her French on? 168?
No, this was at 175. You talking about the first time? It was 154.
Okay. This last one was what? That's heavyweight for women.
Yeah, they didn't. So it was 154 to 175. That's a 21 pound difference.
Damn. Wow.
And you could look on, oh girl, she had a lot of tire around her waist.
Yeah, French is a big girl.
Yeah, man, she wasn't in shape to go over there and box like she gonna need to.
She ain't beat no Savannah Marshall, no, but skills pay the bills.
Yeah, for sure. You got to muddy the waters with her, and if you can't muddy the waters, it's gonna be a long night for her. And she got pot shotted to death.
Made it for a nice payday though.
Yeah, it made for a good payday. Both of them can hold their heads high for that. You know, it was a big deal in the city. People showed out for her. I definitely respect that. Oh, here come on, man, Puddle.
What's up, Girl?
Hey, what up, Cass? What up, Tommy?
What's up with you, man?
Chilling. What's going on with y'all?
Let's chop it up a little.
What did you think about the cards this week?
I missed them because I had a funeral to go to, but I saw the highlights. Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Good for this, Pearl. What happened? Did it? Oh, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
I hear you.
Sure, you're right. Yeah, I missed them, unfortunately, but I saw the highlights.
Okay. Yeah.
What happened to Hitchinson?
Man, he dropped out.
Said something about the weight and some other.
He said at first he said it was the flu, and then he said he had a bad rehydration. He couldn't make the weight.
Yeah, man.
Well,
He got duck flu.
Right?
We was talking about how you always calling people out and then just gonna back out of the fight at the last.
Yeah, that's getting played, man.
Yeah,
Not
man.
a good look. Not a good look.
So for me, he need to go on and move up. He just need to go on and move up.
Right. If you can't make that excuse again, okay. Do not, you move. If you can't make the weight, move to the next class. That's what it's for.
Exactly.
You know?
But yeah, that was the low part of the card, man. He didn't, and he went on and talked all that junk only to pull out.
Right.
Talking about how he gonna stop this dude and this and that, and he stopped himself from going into the ring, man.
All that disrespect when he was talking while the other guy was talking, just to pull out.
Just to pull out, and they pulled out because I figured he knew he was about to be in for some deep doo-doo up in that ring, man. The dude was not coming to play around.
Right, Duarte was like cold in that press conference, bro. Like it didn't matter disrespect, nothing, bro. He just kept looking at him with like gaze, bro. Like, oh shit.
Yeah, he knew that Duarte was not there to play around, man. He was there to win that fight, and he remembered that Gustavo Lumos fight. You said what?
I said Duarte gave him one soundbite, and that's it.
Oh yeah.
Everything else was respectful. Like, I like to thank this guy, I like to thank that guy, how they usually do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh well, after he was done though, he was not more. He was no more respectful after that. That boy said, "Yo, that make you figure he was scared." You know,
Right, I mean, like after they pull out the fight, I mean, that's it, man. You know, throw that all out the window.
yeah, he didn't show up because he was scared, and I feel him on that.
Me too.
I feel him on that. I don't think he wanted to get in that ring. I think he realized, hey man, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like I said, he was winning the Ryan fight. You know what I'm saying? Ryan just hit him with a right that caught him, and you know it changed the complexion of the fight.
And he
But
beat
he-
Billy Sims, Hitchison saw all that. He had all that. in
It
his
is- he's a better version of Gustavo Lemos.
No, he definitely-
Hitchens had trouble with him, remember? All kinds of
Yeah, so he
Lemos
knows.
arguably won this fight.
Yeah, I thought Lemos won that fight.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Lemos definitely held himself accountable for a win. I'll put it that way. Yeah, I thought that Maxie Hughes won the fight, and you know, people told me that Mickey Frigg was barely lucky to win 3 or 4 rounds. And I said, "Yo, whatever you want to say, just know that it wasn't no dang unanimous decision there. If he lost that fight, it should have been by split decision. But that being the case,
They have their picks, though, you know.
Gustavo Lemos is a good fighter.
Yes, yeah.
Duarte is a better fighter. And on top of that, Duarte is a bigger fighter with bigger power, too. That boy didn't want to get in that ring with him, man. He found a way. That term, fudge around and find a way out. Well, he definitely effed around and found a way out. That fool came up with duck flu.
So what is it?
Why would
Postponed?
you just not sign the fight? I'm sorry, Cass, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, is it postponed or just canceled altogether?
I have no idea.
Duarte.
I don't think he's getting in the ring with Duarte, man. Honestly, I don't.
So a whole training camp, man, you just nothing comes out of it. That's crazy, man.
And you could just not sign the fight. You know, it happens all the time.
And then right in the fight week, when was it? Did he back out like Thursday or something?
Nah, he backed out.
He backed out the day. Yeah, he backed out Saturday, or the day of the fight. The day of the fight, Cass. He backed out the day of the fight.
Because we was on Arnie's Pearl like Thursday or Friday. Remember talking about the fight? So damn, that's crazy. Day of the fight. So that's a little fright or something involved in that, man.
He said he got the flu, and then it was, well, I had rehydration problems. So the flu wasn't true then, right? He didn't have the flu. I was throwing up all over the place.
So, come on now.
He didn't want to fight. That's all it was.
Exactly.
After calling out all this disrespect, all this stuff, and all, man, yo, I'm gonna stop this dude. You stopped yourself.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, only thing that I say, he need to go and move up. That way, you won't have this problem.
No.
He saw there was no Cambosis on the other side of the ring. He's like, "What I just did."
Yeah. Afraid to lose that ball.
I will say that in the Cambosis fight, he did look good. But that's Cambosis.
That's Cambosis, though.
Yeah, that's Cambosis. I think
in there lose than backing out like this. To me,
I think that speaks more to Cambosis than to him. To his credit, that's more so to the credit of Cambosis really being somebody that made the most of an opportunity. That's all he did. I thought that Cambosis lost 2 fights prior to the T.O. fight, and I thought he lost every fight since the T.O. fight. I thought even the fight that he fought in Australia, he lost to the young kid.
Yeah. But Cambosis will get in there. He ain't scared of a loss, you know.
Nah, he making bread. He ain't getting out of here. He ain't scared. I'll give you that. He definitely ain't scared.
Right. I respect that, you know. Hitchens would look better if he would have just gotten there and lost instead of just backing out of the thing altogether, you know.
Right. Loss is a loss, but pulling out the fight on the day of, I don't know.
The end of your career, one loss.
Exactly.
That you pull them out on the day of the fight, that don't look good at all. You don't get no respect from nobody doing that.
Nah, that's terrible, man.
Yeah.
And like Porto said, he was talking all this disrespect.
Yeah, I remember. I saw him. You know. And now
Only to pull out the fight.
Now he looks silly. He's the butt of everybody's jokes now. He can't say nothing really now.
That's on him.
Yeah, stay in hiding.
And then, you know, you got people justifying it, talking about, well, I just think it was the weight cut. Nah, Mickey Fricky was scared.
On the day of the fight.
But at least my man Dwayne.
Everything, you know?
I mean, my man Duarte was like, hey, no, he was scared, bro. He knew what was about to happen.
That's what he's supposed to say. Hitchens gave him the right to say that, you know?
He said, hopefully he'll grow a spine and we might get back in the ring.
Right. You know?
Yeah, your boy Duarte said, hopefully he'll grow a backbone and he might get in the ring with me.
Hey, Hitchison did that, like Pearl just said, he did it to himself. That's what Duarte said, you know? Right. Imagine the other way around what Hitchens would have said. You know,
right?
So getting everything he deserved, man.
Exactly, bro. Gotta be professional in there, bro. You signed a contract.
That's right. And then the day of the fight, he got scared. He got cold feet. Yeah.
Whatever it is, you know, it's on him.
Yep. It sure is.
Oh, my bad. I didn't know the technique was over there talking to me, man. I'm not sleeping on Zuffa. I seen the model before it. And, you know, I seen also the fact that the same model has multiple lawsuits. I don't think for something that he's not passionate for, he's going to do right more so by that than his flagship, the thing that he wants to be over everything. So I'm not sleeping on it. I just see the writing on the wall. Now, it may end up being something serious and it might be a big player, but I think that they are going about things the wrong way.
Who are you talking about?
Technique was talking, you know, first and foremost, I guess I was breaking up.
Yeah, you're still breaking up a little bit.
He said before that, he said that I was sleeping on Zuffa. I'm not sleeping on them, but just
on Zuffa.
The model that we have for them is the UFC, and there's a lot of people that are disgruntled within the UFC.
They get signing a lot of people over there.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. They are because, you know, you can find it. Well, you have what's his name, the guy that fought Mayweather. So if you get famous enough, just like with wrestlers and all types of other things, like you can go to a different format and be successful. Mm-hmm. You had two boxers come from there to compete and make big money and real
biggest paydays. McGregor and the other guy that fought Fury and Joshua. Remember what was the guy's name? The big.
It started with an A. I forget his name.
Ngannou.
Yeah, Ngannou. That's right.
Yeah, him and
it starts with the N and Ngannou.
Paydays in boxing.
Exactly. Exactly. He's a glorified champion over there. Dude was hard to even mess with over there. He wasn't getting the money that, you know,
that one fight.
And your boy was upset with the star power that you noticed he had very many fights after he got the boxing match.
And the Ngannou got two big paydays. Remember?
Yeah.
He got Fury and Joshua.
And got put to sleep in one of them.
Yeah.
We had to find out that it ain't sweet up in that ring. It's a whole different beast.
Yeah, he didn't box anymore after that either, did he?
Nah.
The Joshua.
Nah, he ain't boxing. He don't need to, though. He made all that money.
He said, I'm good.
Yeah, so, you know what I'm saying? Once you taste that real money, you can do other things.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can probably go back and
there's a lot of boxers made in their entire careers. He just had 2 fights in boxing. Remember, boxers, their entire careers didn't make the kind of money.
See, and that's what's wrong with the sport.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's what's wrong with the sport, and that's why a lot of times we don't get these matches because of that statement right there. Yeah. But yeah, man. I hope we do get to see these fights. I hope we do get to make these fights, and I hope that these younger fighters and they get to make fights that people want to see, because that's what's wrong with the sport right now. That there's sides of the street, and unfortunately, they're not playing.
You got to certain the fights people want to see. If you want to get paid, like you want to get paid,
Yeah, for sure. Because like when I was younger, it was neighborhood versus neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? We would go to the next neighborhood and play. Football, basketball, baseball, didn't matter. We would go play. We would show that we were the best neighborhood up in the area.
Yeah.
So I don't like the size of the street type argument. I never agreed with it.
Mm-mm.
You know what I'm saying? You want to make the purse accessible, then we could put a wager on it. Then the winner gets lion's share of the purse. How about that? We can make a thing, and then like a proceeds of the winnings can go to, not the winnings, but the whole card and what it take in can go to the winner. Yeah. And we can make the fight that way. Like there's ways around it where you can compromise to get the fight, and you can get a good fight. So, but I know it's already 41 past your slotted time, Kaz. I appreciate you letting me come up, man. Appreciate you telling us about those people who actually graced the ring, even though they was an artist too.
Yeah, rappers. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But like you were saying, rap was a little bit easier though, You ain't getting punched all in the head, and you got to
and less type of politics, so to speak, that are play. You still getting a minuscule amount of the money that's being made off of your talent.
That's always, man. Yeah.
Unfortunately, I guess that's good business. When people get effed over, that's good business.
Yeah.
Somebody told me that a long time ago. It ain't a good business unless
not for the artist or the fighter, the one actually doing the work. Yeah. And
that's always been the case. It's always been upside down on its axis, and that's where people need to come together as fighters. And I think that a lot of the stuff is generated by these people so that they can continue that trend, where the people that make the money are the people that's not in there fighting.
What Prince did? Prince formed his own label. Like, I don't need you to furnish me no label to put my music on. I can make my own label, man. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Paying you all that money just to be on your label. Hey, I can pay
so you can get 90% of what I do.
Right. Yeah, I don't know why more.
And for Prince, he's making not only the music, but he's arranging the way that the music is being composed and things like that. The lyrics, he's doing everything. Like, what are you doing?
Nothing.
I got a studio I could produce my stuff in too.
Mm-hmm. And that's what he did. Before he died, he had to do all of that himself.
Yeah, that's why he died, bro. You know what I'm saying? They can't stand when you beat them at their game.
At their own game, yeah. Yep. Yeah, but okay. We got anything else to hear?
Oh no, man. As always, we want to thank Cass Sports, the box historian, for coming and giving us a little bit of history from the sport of boxing and opening up our understanding to the sport of boxing through the eyes and through the hands and feet of former rap artists or rap artists who were former fighters. Shout out to my man Porter for coming up. Shout out to the people in the chat that participated. We got Al Boogie up in there coming in there with the exclamation point. We got the fisherman, got technique the way of things. The fellow Shakorian. We got my man Alex Alberto of G644 fame. We got DVO, notorious DVO is up in here. Like up in there. Mike Mazik, the champ, the better half, Miss Victoria. And this is 2:00 shorty. It's at 2:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Fridays. You can find Cass Sports go here, bring back the boxing talk and some of that history from the sport that people love. You guys are always welcome to bang the cash app. Shoot, the cash app is on the ticker right there. It just says CAS 2878. That's real easy. Also, you are welcome to chat. And if he ever provides that.
And Al Booker, the last 40 minutes up today was about the rappers, boxing and the rappers. Okay. Yeah, a little brief history of boxing and rap music. And then I had like 8 or 9 rappers that actually boxed or trained in it. Yeah. So the last 35, 40 minutes of today's show was brought to us by you, Al Booker. Remember? Yeah. So yeah, you see let me know what you think about it. Okay. But I appreciate everybody. And we'll be back tomorrow with another episode of Cash Sports the Box Stories. And yeah, that last portion of today's show about rap and boxing was brought to us by Al Booker. Mm-hmm. All right. But we're going to get ready to get out of here. Appreciate Thomas Hill for all he does. And everybody have a great afternoon. And I'll be back tomorrow with another Cash Sports the Box Story. Appreciate y'all. I'm out. Have a good afternoon, everybody. And if you live in the northeast corridor of the country, be careful out there, all that white stuff going on. Peace.